some recollection sometimes. You know, they ask him a question, he's like, I don't have enough details on this. I revert to the sector minister and come back. They ask him on this, I don't have enough information. So many, even some projects he talked to are very dear to him. He didn't have the full facts on some. But with President Mahama, it's quite different. He's mentioning the data to you.
Yeah.
So he comes across as somebody who has the facts. You know, so for me, I'm surprised with this approach of we've not seen enough to warrant a state of emergency.
I want to know what he wants to see.
And that's the question.
What does the president want to see?
They should tell us.
And what other measures does he have under his belt that he wants to use to solve the Galamsey before he declares a state of emergency? We have a seat for him. We're ever ready to have him on our show so that they can tell us what else do they want to do to, solve the situation before they declare a state of emergency. We would love to know, because at this point, I don't know what they want to do.
Yeah, also exasperated.
Exasperated.
It's tired to like continually talk about this. Like, come on. Anyway, there was a related story, right?
Yes.
Nungua residents stand to see water amid month-long shortage. Story by Kennedy Odame-Chumesi. Brief excerpts read, residents of Nungua are appealing to the government for urgent intervention after enduring more than a month without access to potable water, forcing many to resort to seawater for household chores. The taps have remained dry for weeks, while commercial water tankers are either unavailable or too expensive for residents to afford. Mrs. Agnes Nuga, a trader, told City News that the crisis has even left her husband, a tanker driver, without work. This is a direct quote from her. She says, the water scarcity problem has become a big issue for us. We have even decided to go on a demonstration. We are really struggling. We are calling on government to come to our aid. My husband is a water tanker driver and he has no water to supply. The story goes on to say she added that many residents are reluctant to use seawater, citing health concerns. Then another quote from her, not everyone wants seawater because some say it's not hygienic. The story goes on and on and on. But imagine your favorite gobesela boiling some seawater from the place they do don't mean too much song. You boil.
What does that mean?
Oh, you don't know don't mean too much song.
Oh, I know it's a song, but I've heard it in a song, but what does it mean? You can't say it on there.
Bend down. You see the way a shrimp is, no?
A shrimp.
Yeah, you know
yeah.
A bunu
so
you bend down like that.
Yeah.
So don't like go down and bend.
Okay.
So people bend, along there. People bend. They bend for all kinds of reasons.
I hear the bee because the air from the sea.
So imagine
blowing to
somebody's bending like 100 meters away from
the sea.
Your Davi seller too is your Gobe seller
fetching
too.
water.
Davi's also fetching the water to go and boil. So they will boil it and they add some few things. Yeah. But imagine your Gobe.
Just this morning on my way to work, I think I was listening to one of the stations. They're 6 a.m. and they were saying there was a warning from, is it the FDA again, about the use of alum, the increase of people using alum to, make clear the water that they're about to drink. And apparently they're using it in excess, thinking that it'll be better, it'll, cure whatever is in the water, and then for consumption. Imagine.
Charlie, we are on a ticking time bomb.
Line.
Charlie, that is like
our leaders are not
the countdown is just going like that. Anyway, so really, really troubling story in Agbogboshi and also in Nungua. We don't know for sure if the Nungua story is Galamsey related, but your guess is as good as mine.
I think we should go along the coast and find out from other people along the coast how they're surviving without water, if that's the case in their communities as well. It'll be interesting to know.
There's an update on citynewsroom.com. Big story coming in. Children's Support Fund for Helicopter Crash Victim hits 7.2 million Ghana cedis.
Nice.
That's some great news coming in.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
That's very, very nice. Yeah, I think I see that story. Are there any specific details?
Let me try and see if I can get a breakdown of that story. And it's interesting because we were discussing them not long ago in relation to Galamsey. and I hope they serve as a timely reminder. Brief excerpts of the story read: the Children's Support Fund, established to cater for the welfare of the children of the victims of the August 6th helicopter crash, has so far raised 7.2 million Ghana cedis and $20,000 following fresh donations between 12 and 24 September 2025. In its latest updates, the fund listed contributions from institutions and individuals including Risk Management Limited, Federated Commodities, Wilbeck Consult, SIDA Global Logistics and Engineering, the Ghana Gold Board, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, as well as private donors such as Michael Kpakpo Alote, the Metropolitan Chief Executive of Accra, and Dr. Lee and Chen Guo and Dr. Valerie Sawyer, Presidential Advisor on Governmental Affairs and coordinator of the fund, expressed appreciation to donors, stressing that the contributions will go directly into supporting the education, healthcare, and general welfare of the affected children. And the story goes on and on and on. So, yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. I guess that's our news review segment for you. We have some music now. Kenneth is going to give us some music, so stay tuned.
You are worthy to receive all glory and honor, majesty and power, might and praise in all things. Mawagbo, Mawumri Jolo. Waipalo mau mochumyo mau agbo mau mrijolo waipalo mau mochumyo ikata chekepyo hey kewa mampeken oh kewa mampeken kra ka chekepyo hey kewa mampeken kra mawuago mawumrijolo waipalo mawu mochumyo iketa chekepyo hey kawa mampeken oh kawa mampeken kra ka chekepyo hey kawa mampeken kra oh mawagbo mrijolo waipalo mau mochumyo oh onwara ni Jesus oh mwa uchumayefo Jesus oh munshira nidi na oti sada oh noara ni Jesus amenyina munshira nidi oti sada This morning we bow before him. There is no one like him. There is no one like our Jesus. Monto yeho owa kwa ehonyo sene ni onyam no yekese sene ni onyam no yekesi onu ni yenkra itabia onu ni yenkra Abia, hey, Orima Boni be entry you. Orima Boni be entry everywhere you are. Monto aye jo mano nani yeno pari ishi raka honyanko okapo subwa anoku oka pusu bua anu the boom sienia hoto oh the boom sienia hoto ti ni nyansa mu ni hwehwebia ni nya usamo ni shi shebia oh denna ya di bato no denna Odi betu nihu monto aye yinyumo monto aye eyicho nano nani nyoma yeno Namiti anibia etisa nkrofo eni nsuo bebre eni aprana bebre eni etie mu se hallelujah ewrade yenyam kopon no edihini ewade yenyina mu the Lord he reigns forever and ever. Listen to this. Asafuye hoadi ohuroma loda asafuye hoadi montonyo ma loda hallelujah. Hallelujah, Yehovah Din Asafuye Oadin Moroma no Hallelujah, Hallelujah. Hallelujah, Yehovah Din Asafuye Oadin Moroma. Wherever you are, you can lift up your handkerchiefs and sing with me. Hallelujah. Hallelujah, Yehovah Tihen, Asafo Yehovah Tihen, Mohoroma, oh, hallelujah, 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 Yehovah. Oh, lift him up, lift him up. Asafoye, oh, Adi, Mohoroma, no, hallelujah, 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 Yehovah Tihen. Oh, Asafo, Yehovah Tihen. Oh, Mikra. Lift your voice and sing, my soul, praise the Lord. My soul, praise the Lord. My soul, praise the Lord. My soul. Why am I singing this? If he said, Wamamia means Menyonya mineni monya na yeyi erinsame numota. Oh, Amamia means Menyonya mineni monya na yeyi I know you understand what I'm saying. Wamamia means what the Lord has done. Menyonya mineni monya mayeyi rensame. I'm not talking about the physical things. I'm talking about how he redeemed us from destruction and brought us into light because of his blood. And I agree with the songwriter who sang this song that says that Eye wo na wo to me abodini na wo tua makanyi na mami Eradi wo nkuto na wo say intimity mi hunyi na mawo Wadum no doso Eradi wadum nunti Amamin so ma sebio Ejonya mi Wosumbo. I respect you. You are everything. I bow before you, my King. Oh, Ejonya mi, what Erani wosumbu mami inti mi free makume na mi share ohini mi free makume na mi share when yonya mi free makume na mi shewe ohini ye free akome na ye shewe nyonya ye free akome na ye shewe
This October, Ghana's altar calls once again. After 7 unforgettable years, the 8th edition of Women in Worship arrives with a divine charge. Celebrating his faithfulness, minstrels Ada Ehi, Rabna Tomi Favored, Keepers Music, Ikiasa Wabonsu, and many more will gather at Perez Dome on October 5th. Grab your tickets now. Regular 100 Ghana cedis, VIP 200 Ghana cedis plus beverage. Grab it online via Ego Tickets or www.eventpaddy.com. Short code USSD *713 *33 *30# or call Ticket Hotline 0248 810 396 or 0544 124 567. Tickets are available at Airport Shell, Hacho Shell, Bachana Toto, Perez Dome, and more. Sponsors, media partners. Powered by Quest. Women in Worship 2025. Daughter, you still have a voice.
Wake up in the morning feeling super fine. Don't got no time, yeah. Turn it up, I'ma strut my stuff. You see me walking on the block, can't get enough. Like, nobody can touch me. They wanna be like me, but I got no time to get up, get up, get up. Now let's go. We gotta move on up. We gotta move on up. We gotta move on up. We gotta
play me for.
It's go time. We gotta move on up. We gotta move on up. Call me. We gotta move on up. We gotta move on up. Now let's go.
Beautiful.
Get up.
Wow.
Get up, let's go.
Decent cross, wasn't going for it. Out towards goal! That's a superb finish.
When it's go time to supercharge your hustle, make it go time for GoTV.
Get up, now let's go.
Love it.
Yo, Green, you no go job. You look unhappy and seem to be in pain.
I have this long-standing boil at my anus and it keeps coming and going. I feel sick and so uncomfortable, bro.
Have you taken into consideration going to the hospital?
I've been to several hospitals and they keep telling me the same thing. They said it's anal fistula. I have to undergo a surgery. I'm scared I might not be able to hold my stool if I do this surgery.
Wait, have you considered seeing a proctologist?
Which one is that? What do we have proctologists in Ghana here?
Bro, we have a lot of them. They are being trained every time.
Where can I?
An anal fistula is an abnormal tract which connects the inner parts of the anus to the skin around the anus. As long as this tract persists, there will be a recurring boil around the anus. A proctologist is the one credited with excellent outcomes of surgery of anal fistula. Laser and ligature anal fistula surgeries are the modern methods with very low recurrence rates.
Visit Mwintuba Hospital and Coloproctology Center today or call us. Mwintuba Hospital, First Ghana Colorectal Center, in to serve a peculiar health need.
This week on the Upside Down Show, Frema Edunyame and Nana Tufo Boateng sits with Dr. Hannah Louisa Bisukote administrator of the Minerals Development Fund. She recounts the ordeal she had to suffer as a child living with her aunt.
I went through what any child that you call abuse today went through. I had lice in my hair, and I have a lot of hair, you know. Everything was taken off, and I had sores all over. And my auntie would not let me be with my cousins because of the sores.
However, she didn't see this as a stumbling block as she moved on with life in Cuba. It wasn't all rosy though.
I left for Cuba at age 14, 1986. 14. I held on and to Ambassador Amogo Fred on to his suit as Kofi. I'll be crying. Mosquitoes. You can't eat the food. I was crying.
But she learned something for life.
In Spanish, there's something they say, uno para todo, todo para uno. One is for all of us, and we are all for one.
So, make a date this Sunday on the Upside Down Show at 7 p.m. prompt, only on Channel One TV.
Habibi, my people, welcome to Dubai. My name is Sheikh Alkal bin Maktoum. Okay, so I am Caleb, right? Caleb Kuda is my name, and this is Beyond Borders on Channel One Television. We are in Dubai. So join me. Let us explore the allure, the beauty, and the reality of life and living it in Dubai through the eyes and the experiences of our compatriots.
Imagine 6 people, 10 people sharing a common room together.
If you're not a na complain there in the sense, why you are share one rooms now? It doesn't smell pleasant. Or hunting no complaints now, baby. Until if you're
Dubai is one of the most organized, highly resourced, and well-endowed countries you would find.
You've been here for 7 months.
Yes.
Without a job.
Yeah.
How is it like?
So hard.
Tell me about it.
Struggling, renting and feeding is so hard.
Every frame per second of their lives in Dubai tells a story, and we've got it all captured right here on Beyond Borders, only on Channel One Television. So don't get told, don't miss out. Catch these compelling stories of Ghanaians in Dubai only on Beyond Borders on Channel One TV this and every Wednesday at 7 p.m. I catch you.
Beyond Borders is sponsored by Copen Hospitality. It's time to promote volunteerism, active citizenship, and patriotism in Ghanaian society,
where we shine the spotlight on the unsung heroes among us.
Today, we're not just launching a program, we're igniting a revolution of skills, dreams, and hope.
On Volunteers TV, we highlight and celebrate people and groups that are great examples to us all.
Every single region in Ghana, we're doing something. Good. So no one's being left behind.
Over 800 kids that come to school, so having an extra classroom, extra resources will be really, really beneficial.
If you're a volunteer, you're actually serving because you are giving up your time and resources for nothing in return.
Volunteers TV, Sunday at 6:30 p.m. only on Channel One TV. In a world filled with challenges, we all need guidance, hope, and a lifeline to anchor us.
This is Lifeline, and I'm your host, Fred Crunchy Mensa.
From social issues, relationship challenges, and family matters, Lifeline is here to inspire, uplift, and guide you on your journey.
Where we give you support, where we hold your hand through the valley and through the thick and thins of life.
Join Bishop Fred Crunchy Mensa.
I welcome you especially to Lifeline.
Every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 p.m. right here on Channel One TV. Let's walk this path together, strengthen our faith, our families, and our lives. Lifeline, because every soul deserves a guiding light. Tune in to Lifeline on Channel One TV and let's grow together.
station full of questions, where truth often hides behind noise, one show dares to ask what truly matters face to face. With fearless clarity and a quest for accountability, host Umaru Sanda Amadou sits down with the movers and shakers of politics, governance, society, and business, confronting the issues that define our national conversation.
The party itself has said that whenever you're in opposition, you should choose flag bearers early.
So what you are trying to tell me is that you want somebody who is going out to come and select a leader for you. So the next person will come and say, but I didn't select him.
Direct victim of attack, violent attack.
Where and when?
The first one happened in Parliament. I was pregnant.
Now, for me, it was legitimized by a radio or TV station giving her a position to work.
So for you, take issue with GH1 and what and giving her the platform.
That is where the minority is. We are on them. We've asked questions.
President Mahama will be a mean president if he prioritizes only his children and DCP. He needs to demonstrate a Ghanaian government.
Every Tuesday at 9 p.m., join Umaru Sanda Amadou on Face to Face as he digs deeper, challenges power, and reveals the stories shaping Ghana's future. Only on Channel One TV.
Welcome back. This is Sunday Breakfast right here on Channel One TV. My name is Jude Duncan. We'll continue the show. We have a very important conversation that started last week. We'll get into it. A couple of your messages came through. We'll be delving into it and more. Joining us for the health segment on Sunday Breakfast is Dr. Kalsum Adam. She's a public health advocate, and she's been with us on this ride ever since. Doc, good morning and welcome to Sunday Breakfast.
Good morning.
Yeah, I hope you are well. Yeah, good to hear. Good to hear. Eno is also well, but she's a little tired.
Oh,
she had a very long day yesterday. Actually, a long week, right?
Yeah, like long weekend.
Yeah, she was on radio reading news, mentioning big words.
That's
yeah,
good to know.
Amazing. We started this conversation last week, where he explained to us into details what DVT, is, the symptoms. He also touched on the treatment, and I think that's where we ended the conversation. So we'll go on, we'll continue from there. But just as a quick refresher, for those, also for the benefit of those who couldn't tune in last week, when we say DVT or deep vein thrombosis.
Yeah, you got it. Thrombosis.
The way you laugh, so this is spotted. You let me say DVT. What kind of condition is it for the uninitiated?
So DVT or deep vein thrombosis is so thrombosis and deep vein. So thrombosis is when a clot forms within a vessel. Okay, and usually the vessel should be deep seated. And commonly where it happens is the lower limbs. Okay, it can also happen somewhere in any other part of the body, the pelvis, but commonly you have it in the lower limbs. So you have you need certain conditions for a thrombus or a clot to form within the vessel. So the vessels can be likened to pipes. So you have a pipe, regularly at home you have your pipes, and these pipes would receive water and then would transfer the water all the way. Then you get, when you open your taps, you get water coming through it. Okay, so in the same vein, when you are talking about veins, arteries, vessels within the body, they are your tubes, or yes, so basically your tubes that would be able to also connect to your heart. So either they are carrying blood from the rest of the body to the heart, where it is oxygenated, it goes through the lungs, it's oxygenated, and it goes back into the body to the cellular level, where the oxygen is utilized, and then so on and so forth. So it's like that's pump system within the body. So now when you have a clot forming, so a blood clot forming within the deep veins within the body, and usually the lower limbs, then you have deep vein thrombosis happening. And you need something we call the Virchow's triad, 3 main conditions for a clot to form within the veins. So your endothelium is the lining within, the innermost lining of these tubes that I'm talking about, or your veins. So if you have some endothelial damage, or the cells within the endothelium, they are damaged, that would predispose you to form clots within the vessels. And then also when you have hypercoagulable state, so coagulation is basically, these are factors that are found within, protein factors that are found within the blood itself, so your plasma. So usually they are insoluble, okay? Usually, sorry, they are rather soluble.
Okay.
So then when they become, when you stimulate them, they become insoluble. So insoluble, that means that they can now become solid, so that they can stop whatever that is causing the injury. Okay, so when you have hypercoagulable state, that means that you have a lot of these clotting factors in there that have been activated. And have stasis. Stasis is slow movement of the blood within these tubes. So once it stays there, that means that it's sluggish. So if it's sluggish, it means that now you would have that time factor to help for the clot to form. So all of these 3 factors are very necessary for the formation of these clots that we are talking about.
I recall you saying last week that it could be a life-threatening, condition to have.
Once it becomes complicated, especially so when these clots do form, they do form in the lower limbs, as we have mentioned, and then you are not very fortunate, and then these clots then break. So when they break away from where they have formed and they start to travel, we call it embolism. So you have clots forming, and then now it is traveling to other parts of the body, especially when it travels and then it goes to the pulmonary vessels, that is the vessels within the lungs, and then it can lead to what we call pulmonary embolism, and then that is life-threatening, and that can lead to death. Yes, so that is, what you mentioned.
We'll continue with the treatments, right? And I also recall very briefly you talking about how lifestyle changes, can play a very key role in dealing with the treatment. But are there, we'll come to lifestyle changes, all of those things. Okay. But are there like specific procedure you can, undergo to deal with this?
Yes, so usually DVT, once you have DVT and you've been diagnosed, diagnosis is basically, from your signs and symptoms, and then you go on to look at certain investigations that you have to do. So investigations, you have the regular hematological investigations where you can do D-dimer tests, and then for DVT patients, most of the time you have very high levels of your D-dimers. So your D-dimers are just byproduct of any clotting that has occurred within the body. So you have those fragments within the body, and then it can be picked up as that's investigation. So once that is confirmed, and then also the fact that you can also do an ultrasound, Doppler ultrasound of these vessels. So once you do these ultrasound and then you notice that there is a clot there, yes, that is also diagnostic of the fact that, and also there are other things, aside the signs and symptoms that I have mentioned, there's something we call the Wells score that looks at some of these risk factors, and then also some of these investigations, and then it's scored. Based on that, it gives you a high index of suspicion that this person has a DVT, or this person does not have it.
Can the clot travel?
Treatment, and then the treatment is basically, it's medical treatment, and then the surgical aspect of it in cases where the medical treatment is contraindicated. Eno was just mentioning that can the clot travel? Yes, it can. So once it breaks, as he mentioned, so once it breaks and then it starts to travel, it now becomes an embolus. So an embolus, wherever that it goes to, which part of the body that it goes to, and then it causes some blockade, then you have some manifestation of that system. The patient would present with those manifestations. And one of them, which we don't want to happen, is what I said, when it gets to the pulmonary vessels, and then it causes that you can end up with a life-threatening situation.
But
and that can actually
for
lead to
those
death.
who don't show any obvious symptoms, I think you touched on that very briefly too. Like how do you? There's a word you guys use, trying to, assess whether one is in a particular condition. So how do you? What would even prompt you to say, oh, maybe this is a DVT, when it's very obvious that there are no symptoms?
Okay, so you'd have to look at sometimes the history around the person.
So
one of the risk, family history may play a role. I would explain that. So family history comes in when you're talking about the coagulation factors. So if you do have certain inheritable factors that predisposes you to forming clots, like you don't have protein S, protein C, and then sometimes even antithrombin 3. All of these are some inheritable risk that if you do have it, then it means that you are prone to having coagulation, or you are prone to your blood moving from the soluble to insoluble. Okay, yes. So that is one of them that can play a factor in you being predisposed to getting DVT. But the other thing that what again? Did
I was asking you around the symptoms.
Yes,
right?
so the symptoms, yes, basically. So the symptoms basically would be that you may have some unilateral leg swelling.
Yeah, you mentioned
that. Yes, that may have some temperature. Okay, so increased temperature, and then pain at the calf.
How is it like, is
so
it like
intense pain?
Is it
intense
or
pain
sharp
around
or piercing
yes.
or?
So it's usually very sharp pain around the calf. So that's just behind you.
In medical diagnosis, is that a symptom? I feel like symptoms are what you can see, right, or also feel.
Symptoms are what the patient will tell you, and signs are what the doctor will pick up.
Is it?
You get
how
it.
then do you tell the difference between a muscle pull? Because muscle pulls
Yeah, so
normally
exactly
happen
the
around
question
that
was coming to.
area
How do you know
as
the
well.
kind of pain is not from like some leg injury?
Okay.
Or a muscle pull.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, how do you tell the difference?
Yeah, so you see, usually muscle pull just doesn't happen. It may be preceded by some strenuous activity that you may have done.
Yeah.
So that would point more towards that. So you would have to look at the history around it, and then marry it with some of the symptoms that the patient will be telling you. And then you would also juxtapose it on the signs that you pick up. So muscle pull, and then most of the time for muscle pull too, is because of you may have had an injury there, or there's some inflammation going on there. So usually it responds to some of these analgesics that you give, some of these painkillers that you give. So when you give the patient these, they tell you that, oh, it's coming down, or it's resolving, as opposed to that of DVT. That of DVT would not respond to some of these analgesics that it's giving. So I agree with you, it's a very thin line.
Yeah.
But then when you look at all of these,
I mean, doctors
and
are
the history-
magicians, right? This week I think a particular school, had a pass out for doctors,
Okay.
fresh doctors,
Yeah.
and there was a conversation on social media around, the profession, young doctors, and I remember a post from a young guy who, also graduated, and he had like a picture of the human anatomy with all the many different veins
From
within the
muscles,
body,
veins to-
and they were color coded.
Yeah.
And one person said that his shock in medical school was that his shock in real life, medical school practice, training, and all of that, that when they see the things on the signpost color coded, but in real life there's no color code, and there are so many of the veins, so how do you know this is the, it's but I guess it's the beauty of it. Amazing. So that's how you're able to tell for the symptoms.
Yeah, so that's
How about
you're
the
able
red
to
patches
tell.
that form?
So usually not so if it's erythema. So erythema is you would see that particular limb has changed color. It looks, especially, you would see it more in people who are fair colored. You would see that, okay, when I compare the unaffected limb to the affected limb, there is some color change between the two. Not only that erythema, generally, you would also feel that there is temperature change. So the affected limb may have an increased temperature. Okay, it will be a little hypothermic compared to the limb that is not affected. And then there will be changes in the size of it as well. So when you use a tape to measure the circumference around the affected and unaffected, there is some discrepancy showing that there is some swelling with the affected limb. So these are some of the signs that you will pick up.
What treatment options are available for people that, after their diagnosis and all of that?
All right, so treatment options, medical. So medical, you go on, you be put on something we call the blood thinners.
Is that safe?
Oh yes, it is safe. It is safe, I'll explain, in the sense that you are just not put on it and then left, you'll be monitored. Okay, so blood thinners would reduce the rate at which you form clots. But also, it means that you're at risk of bleeding if you should have an injury. Okay, so that is why I say that you are just not put on it, but you are monitored as you are put on it. And it's also within therapeutic levels that you are put on. So usually you'll be put on some anticoagulants. So these anticoagulants, depending on the setting of care, so if you are an inpatient, to be given some of these subcutaneous anticoagulants. Others too, you can be given and you will be switched to some of these oral anticoagulants as well. Okay, so that is what, and usually when you are put on warfarin, for instance, you need to be monitored and you need to be doing some of these investigations like your INR or your clotting profile. So you are put on it, and then you take these blood investigations to be sure that your INR is within the therapeutic levels, and then you would also be told as to what some of the activities you're supposed to be doing and some of the activities you're supposed to refrain from, so that you don't end up getting injured and then you end up bleeding excessively. So for certain patients where you having to do medical treatment for a while and you notice that they are still not improving, then it means that you may have to do certain or you may have to intervene surgically. So yes, there are certain surgical interventions that you would have to do with vascular surgeons, where you would go in, locate where the clot is, and then you retrieve the clot. Okay, so it depends. And then certain people too may have some conditions that will contraindicate for giving them the medical treatment, and then all of those are candidates for the surgical management as well. The most important thing is that you do not want further clots to form. That's one. So these medical treatments will not break down the clot that has formed, but rather would prevent further clotting from happening. And then, aside that, you would have to give the patient certain advice or counseling to make sure that they are doing some exercising. Okay, so most of the time, as I mentioned from the beginning, I said that you have stasis. Stasis is that the blood becomes sluggish. So what can you do to prevent the blood from becoming sluggish? So you need to do active, passive exercises. Okay, so anytime you think you're indulging in any long activity where it will require you to be stationary for a very long time, at least take breaks. So after every hour, you can take a break and then walk around. Those who are in long flights, even with that, after an hour, you can walk through the aisles and all of that. And then even if you can't walk within that period, you just need to do your active passive movements, where you would point your toes upwards and then downwards. In that sense, it helps with the activation of your soleus pump. Okay, so the muscle that is just behind or around the calf, it helps to contract and relax that muscle. And that is what helps with any blood that has pulled down there would then be pushed back and back into circulation and that reduces the stasis that I mentioned. That is one of the main factors that you need for DVT to form. And also, aging is one of them. Aging, once people are aging, you notice that they become very, they are not as active as they used to be before. So you still need to make sure that once you are aging, you still have to engage in certain activities, even if it is not very rigorous exercises, but you should still do some exercise to prevent.
Is it the word is just escaped me? The prevalence.
Okay, so about, I mean, globally, about 300,000 people are diagnosed.
Globally?
Globally, yes, 300,000.
If I get it, am I at risk of getting it again?
Yes.
So it's like a long lifetime?
No, so if you get it, you are at risk of getting it again.
Okay.
But what you have to do is that, as I mentioned, there are 3 factors. You need to be able to modify those 3 factors so that you don't end up getting it again.
In a world of 7 billion people, 300,000 feels like a drop in the ocean.
In the ocean, but it's still because of the high
globally
mortality. Exactly, because of the high mortality.
It's a major
issue. Once you
if it's 300,000 globally, then in Ghana, probably further.
In Ghana, I don't have the statistics.
The data.
Yes, but then most people who report tend to be either they report to the hospital and they are picked up, or those who may have undergone certain major surgeries, so maybe a pelvic surgery, or a lot of, you can even just oppose it on the number of people who get accidents and then they end up with fractured limbs, okay, and then they have to undergo fixation of these limbs. So if they are immobile for a long time, so it's one of the protocols that is used. Once the limbs are fixed and they have to be immobile, they have to be prophylactically anticoagulated against DVT. You get it? And people who have malignancies, so they have certain cancers in other parts of their bodies, that also predisposes them to getting a hypercoagulable state, and then eventually, so you can look at all of these risk groups, and then it can give you a fair idea of what we are dealing with if any of these risk groups end up getting DVTs.
Is it hereditary?
Yeah.
So as I mentioned,
there's family history, right?
Yes, so family history basically on the protein C, protein S, and then antithrombin 3. So all of these, they help to prevent you having a clot forming. But then if you do not have it, you have deficiencies of these, it means that you're at risk of developing clots much more often. And these are hereditary. So eventually, yes, you can end up having some hereditary components when it comes to DVT.
Pregnancy?
Pregnancy as well is also another risk factor. Pregnancy, because of the hormonal surges, you tend to also have hypercoagulable state in that sense. Aside the hormonal surges, also because of the gravid uterus or the pregnancy, tends to cause it compresses on the big vessels. So if it compresses on the big vessels, it means that you have pooling of the blood. And if you have pooling of the blood and you are unable to get the blood back into circulation, and then you have stasis, yes, you're at risk of developing DVT as well when it comes to that.
Wow. Doc, I feel like I can give a whole lecture on DVT, right?
Yeah, you should be able to.
From a position of complete ignorance to.
Yeah, and then, a lot of people are not aware of it and they do not take precautions, especially when they are traveling.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so there are certain times, most of the times you hear that, oh, this person was so healthy and then went on a flight. And as soon as they landed and the person got off the flight,
and they died.
The person went unconscious and that was the end of it. Yes, it's likely it's a DVT. And once they started walking, there was an embolus and it went into the lungs. They ended up with a P.
Do compression socks, on long flights, help in any way?
Yes,
or even if you're not going
help.
on a long flight,
yes,
can you wear it?
Exactly, it does help. So it does the similar work as the soleus pump or your muscle. So it augments the action of the muscle and it helps with pumping the blood that pulls down there within the limbs back into circulation. So yes, it does go a long way to help. It's one of the prophylactic ways of preventing DVT. Yeah, so it does go a
Amazing.
long way to help.
Doc, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you too.
Yeah, a real blessing, for the insights you bring to us. Of course, not only us, all our lovely viewers out there. There's free consultation, right?
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
When I come to the hospital, they pay.
I went to some hospital. They are the airport police. They charged me the thing.
Oh my God.
Thank you. We've learned
Thank
so
you
much
too.
about DVT.
Yeah,
well, right now we're going to Agbogbloshie Market, where the women are not too convinced about the FDA reports that there are chemicals in some of our foodstuffs. Fauzuma Sawudu brings us this report.
Traders at the Agbogbloshie Market in Accra have dismissed the report by the Environmental Protection Agency and UK-based NGO Africa Pure Earth. The report points to the contamination of food crops, including contumely and tomatoes, by mercury and other heavy metals in mining areas. Despite growing public concern, the traders insist it is a conspiracy by authorities to encourage the purchase of imported food items.
Illegal gold mining, known in local parlance as galamsey, continues to pose dire socio-economic and environmental threats across the country. Beyond the much talked about pollution of water bodies, a new and alarming danger is emerging: the contamination of food crops by heavy metals such as mercury, as revealed in a recent report by the Environmental Protection Authority, EPA, in collaboration with UK-based NGO Africa Pure Earth. The study, conducted across mining communities in 6 regions, namely Western, Eastern, Ashanti, Central and Savannah, raises serious concerns about the safety of common food items, including taro leaves, commonly known as contumely, coconut, tomatoes, among others. Despite these concerns, traders at the Agbogbloshie Market in Accra have dismissed the findings. They argue that the report is part of a wider agenda to discredit locally grown produce.
Affecting your market.
No cocolo, Mogwani,
Suppliers of leafy vegetables like cabbage and lettuce also insist that their cultivation methods prevent any risk of contamination from heavy metals.
A higher pa, say a market in so. Na vegetables, especially cabbage and carrot in I say. Even send a good way, I walk a crack can in Pokra, and this year galamsey so na chemicals woman, ya the can vegetables and I best say no. Until I'm fat galamsey so be anya day. Vegetables. To do a becker sabi our boy.
Shoppers like Linda, who had come to buy in bulk, said the crops appear fresh and uncontaminated. She added that proper washing before cooking makes them safe.
To be very honest, we don't have anything to see whether the foodstuffs are being contaminated or so. Because when you look at garden eggs, we come to the market and we see it very fresh, like the same way we've been saying it. And we see the contumely, the same freshness is there. The plantain, the cassava, the same freshness is there. So we are not aware of it. Unless the government does something about the galamsey issue. Yes, the news is troubling because right now we sort of have to wash our vegetables with hot water, salt, and those things before we eat them. But right now we are not. Most of us are ignorant about it.
However, health experts warn that the danger isn't always visible. Medical practitioner Dr. Arab says crops contaminated by heavy metals may not show any outward signs.
Genuinely, when it comes to these heavy metals, no amount of cooking or cleaning will take these metals out, which is why, we call them dangerous metals. It's not like you can cook, let's say, your food for like it's not like boiling water, okay, to get impurities out. Yes, you boil water, you can take out bacteria, but you can't take out heavy metals from boiling. So, no, it doesn't. Cleaning food or making sure your meal is clean does not guarantee it's being free from heavy metals.
The health risks are significant, ranging from cancer to cardiovascular diseases and neurological damage.
One thing I like to tell people is when you look at taking in heavy metals, sometimes it may not be immediate, okay? But the short term, most of the times, is GI disturbance. Like you may feel some abdominal pain, cramping, diarrhea, nausea, vomiting, any of these, okay? But for long term, it can run across the whole body. Let's start with the brain, okay? So you can actually have methyl mercury affecting the brain, okay? You can have seizures, you can have tremors, long term, even memory loss. Okay, we can go on to other parts of the body like the kidneys, chronic kidney disease. Currently, it's on the rise. Okay, and we try to think, oh, maybe it's the soft drinks, maybe it's this. It could be a lot of things, but without knowing, very young people are actually picking up this. It could be from even the food we eat unknowingly, because there are people that don't even have risk factors. Okay, but then they are getting it. It could be mercury. Okay,
but can these conditions be reversed?
Fortunately, no. It's not. I mean, memory loss, once it's lost, there's not. Once your kidneys are damaged, there's no return. Once you have mental retardation, there's really no. So most of the time, the damage is irreversible.
Amid growing concern about Galamsey's hidden presence on our plates, some traders say the fear is already affecting their business.
Affected Johnny Tiama and Tokra as a marketing. To Moba bisa say free by any actual no matter. And to Moyan is Samaya.
The Galamsey menace, once confined to rivers and forests, is now threatening food security and public health, one crop at a time. The calamity caused by illegal gold mining, also known as Galamsey, transcends the obvious. Even what we consume is no longer safe. The next time you make an order, be careful about the menu because there just might be poison on it. Reporting for Channel 1 News, Fawzuma Saudu, Accra.
So very disturbing, comments around a very, very worrying trend where we are now being told by the experts that some level of heavy metals and mercury and other, dangerous chemicals are being found in our foodstuff. Really, 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 really unfortunate. And, we discussed this a bit during the news review segment. We know the reasons why we are experiencing some of these things. The Galamsey menace, high on the radar, destroying every single thing. Our water, almost gone. Our food stuff is now next. And it creates, a very difficult situation for local residents and now for market women. The real struggle here, however, is that they are, they disagree with comments around the people who've done the research and what this research contains. But the fact remains, if you listen to Pure Earth Ghana, if you listen to the Arocha Ghana, who've also done a lot of work within the space, if you listen to the Media Coalition of Media Coalition Against Galamsey, you get a sense that we are on a ticking time bomb. And for some reason, it seems that's very serious approach that is needed to tackle this menace is not being done, and it's very worrying. When my colleague Fawzuma Saudu filed this report, spoke to Dr. Omaira Arab, she was clear again in how these food stuff that would usually buy from the market. So she talks about the contomere, she talks about some leafy vegetables. All of them, had or contained some level of heavy metal. So it's a very worrying situation, very disturbing. We've not, of course, the FDA they came out to speak on this, calling for active, work to be done in terms of fighting this menace. We've also heard from the Pharmaceutical Association of Ghana. We've heard from the GMA, who threatened to embark on a strike if some work or active, work is not done to rectify this. And I can go on and on and on the various associations and groups that have come out to speak on this. So it is very clear that we need to do some work. Many have said that it is an existential threat because it threatens our water, it threatens our food, it threatens our economies, it threatens just everything around us. But
Fauzi's on the line. He's the one who filed the report. We can go and speak to him. Hi, Fauzi. How are you doing this Sunday?
Hello, Eno. I'm well. I trust you are too.
I'm very well, thank you. So you went to the Agbogbloshie market. I'm sure some of the women's utterances surprised you. Tell us about that.
I was shocked to the marrow, Eno, because given the extent of seriousness that many have called to be attached to the issue of Galamsey menace, and then hearing some of these comments that the market women passed was definitely, shocking, for the lack of better expression. But you couldn't have also faulted them as much, because the truth of the matter is that we know the class of people within which most of these market women fall. And when I went further to engage them, you'd realize that most of them didn't even know what mercury was in the first place. They didn't even know what some of these heavy metals were. I mean, obviously they know what Galamsey is, but some of them don't even know that some of these illegal miners use toxic substances, in their activities. So they actually took the findings of the report with a pinch of salt. And you could also understand them to an extent, because, this has to do with their livelihoods. And we know how sentimental people can be. This is something that puts food on your table. So if there is a report that is saying that some of the crops that you are selling are most likely to be contaminated by some of these toxic chemicals, then by extension, it means that will have a toll on your business. And rightly said, they mentioned actually in the report that it has taken a heavy toll on their business, because now people come and some even ask where these consumer or where these leafy vegetables are coming from before they go ahead to make purchase.
Yes, Fauzi, would you say that it is time the FDA goes to the market to have a conversation with these women so that they can better understand what their report means?
Absolutely, and that's the crux of this. It comes back to education, public awareness. Like I stated, these women do not even know what a mercury is. For crying out loud, they do not even know. So the FDA, I think the FDA has a Herculean task, if you ask me, to play in ensuring that awareness, public awareness, gets to the nook and cranny of these marketplaces. When you actually trace the supply chain, one will argue that, well, this thing is happening somewhere, it's not in the Greater Accra region, but then these food crops are coming from Galamsey mining hotspots, and so you cannot be too sure whether or not the consumer you are buying, or the salad, or the cabbage, or any other food crop that has been cited in the report is safe for consumption. So the FDA cannot leave any stone unturned. They need to intensify public education that targets the sellers and then the buyers themselves. To the last person on the food chain, So public awareness is definitely the way to go. They need to engage. And, some of these women are, so like I said, it's a food chain from the farm gates to the middlemen, those who go there to get them in wholesale, and then they bring them to the market. And even at the market, there is a point where these women go to buy them in bulk before they come and then resell them. So it has to spread across from where these crops are coming from, to who is buying, to where the person is taking it to who is consuming them. So, definitely public education is the way to go.
But aside, your observation and your speaking to the traders, do they look like they're willing to, accept the report in any way, or have a conversation on this particular issue?
Oh yeah, they were. I asked some of them. My opening question actually to all of them was that, do they find this report troubling? and they all responded in the affirmative. I mean, it is very troubling because even they, the market women themselves, if could also be affected because they eat what they sell. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So they are. I mean, most of them are actually open to have conversations around them, but then the dilemma here is that they do not want to come to terms with the fact that what they are selling is likely to contain poison, for the lack of better expression, and to an extent will affect their livelihood. So, if you ask me, most of them are just delusional. If you ask me, they know. Actually, some from the responses that some of them gave, they acknowledge the threats or the impacts of illegal mining. They know that it's not only affecting our water bodies. Some of these crops mostly are also likely to be affected, but the dilemma again is that they do not want to believe that what they are selling has been affected.
Right.
So yeah, they are really open to have conversation, and I'm sure that the FDA, per their own mechanism, will have a way to go around it.
We all know the Agbogbloshie market, but what key role do they play in, Ghana's food supply chain?
Agbogbloshie market in the central business district is like the biggest, one of the biggest markets. When it's part of us even eating to Makola and what have you. So if you in Accra here, if you want to buy, people go there to buy in bulk. We know that they have an onion market. They have, even where we went to conduct our interview, they have a whole market that they have like a consumer, a taro leaf market, consumer market, and they call that place Bodifuum. So you go there, and on that entire enclave, it is just consumer that people are selling. So it's a big deal. It's really a focal point if we are having a conversation around Ghana's food chain. So yeah, that's how integral they are in the country's food supply chain.
Yes, the doctor you spoke to mentioned the risks associated with mercury and the likes. Enhance or drum home the point on that for us a bit more.
Yeah, so I asked, I thought from the doctor whether there are immediate tangibles in determining whether a food or a crop has been contaminated by mercury. And she mentioned that the signs may not be immediately visible because these are metals, they are chemicals. So you could even buy something, let's say consumer, they will look very fresh, but that is not a guarantee or an assurance that they are, safe for consumption.
But does the cooking and the washing it with vinegar and salt do anything at all?
He said they don't do anything at all because they are not like, it's not like a bacteria where you can cook and boil to a certain temperature and then be sure that, okay, well, to understand how to be safe. But he said with heavy metals, it is non-negotiable. Once they are contaminated, they are contaminated. Maybe to take some, well, if you didn't say that, they might probably take some divine intervention or some miracle, or maybe some clinical, interventions to an extent to ensure that these meals again become, these heavy metals or substances are taken away from the crops. But she said with heavy metals, they are very toxic, and once they contaminate something, they should never be eaten or they should never be consumed.
What are the immediate signs that one would probably see after consuming, this type of or heavy metals for a long period?
Yeah,
I'm sure she mentioned some.
Right. So in the interview again, I asked Dr. Arab what some of the short or long-term, health implications could be, and she mentioned that with the short-term implications, there's mostly like the general, sickness that we show, so nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, headache to an extent, sometimes, migraine and what have you. And then the long-term, she mentioned that it could have cardiovascular effects on you, even in the report that was conducted by the POS and then the EPA. They mentioned that cancer, the increase in cases of cancer has largely been attributed to some of these things. The doctor also mentioned kidney problems, and most of them or some of them actually come from the consumption of these crops that have been contaminated by heavy metals.
Thank you so much for your time, Fauzi Masaudu, and for incredible, work you've done highlighting this really troubling concern. Hopefully, you keep an eye on it and you are able to get more updates from you on this story. I mean, the results are out for all to see, and I hope that our duty bearers are minded about this rather unfortunate, situation. And it's important that we have, information out there. The level of misinformation, especially on the part of the traders, and you can understand why they would want to have that position, because we are talking about their livelihood. Imagine everybody boycotting the buying of contomere because the word out there is that it contains harmful chemicals. It is their business, they are literally watching their business go down the drain. And for a country that, has not put in place any proper alternative livelihood support, come to think about it, which single government job creation project has survived any, or has survived administrations? This one come, they say NAPCO, Yamutu. This one come, they say youth in afforestation. They come up with fanciful terms, but the problem still persists. So for a country that has not been able to crack or fix the unemployment, struggle, further worsening it by destroying the livelihood of traders is not a smart thing to do. So I'm particularly concerned, and I hope that all of these associations would rise up and speak against this. All of those affected along the value chain will rise up and speak against this.
Speaking about associations, we have the president for the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana, Wapia Awal Adugwala, on the line. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
How did the FDA report come to you? What did you think of it?
Yeah, looking at the report is quite worrying to us as an association, because if there's a decline in the hello?
Yes, sir, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. So what we are worried, because if there's no market for the vegetables, what it will mean is that we are going to eventually be out of business, because that is what we produce to sustain ourselves. And then it's quite worrying, of course, if you look at the health implication as well, it's quite worrying to us. And that is why right from day one, we have joined the campaign against illegal mining. Of course, we are much particular about mining in forest reserves and then mining in water bodies. I have gone around most of the regions where these activities are taking place. So we will still urge government to be able to. So the report is quite worrying. It's quite worrying, because as I speak to you, I have trained about 40 women in the western region to do vegetable farming. We are working on it. We did our first harvest. And if this report is coming out, many people are realizing that western region, when it comes to Galamsey, is at the top there. And what it means is that those who are supposed to take these vegetables per this report are not going to take it. And these are women we train. It's a livelihood program for them. And the question is, if they are not buying the vegetables and the women are supposed to not have anything to do, what it means is that some of them may eventually also go back to the Galamsey side to see whether they'll get some menial activities to do. So I think this report has come. It's a wake-up call for us to act decisively to deal with Galamsey in areas that they are not supposed to do mining. Farmlands and water bodies, like the Honorable Minister said, should be a no-go area for us.
Yeah, but we also understand that some farmers in other mining communities are now saying of their lands to Galamsey, and illegal miners. As an association, are you aware of this, and is anything being done to rectify this?
Yeah, so what we are saying is that earlier we have these reports coming in from other places. I have personally gone around. We have carried out some education to explain to the farmers that if you give your farmland out for illegal activities, of course, the gold will finish, the farmland will be destroyed, and at the end of the day, we are still going back to the same problem. Remember, this land has been passed over to you because generations have worked on the land. It's not for one generation. So you cannot leave the land out for destruction. But of course, when you go there, there are so many things that are happening in the community. Others are enticed with the money, the monetary value. But like we keep saying, your own health will be in danger. The money that you are going to take will not sustain you for generations to come, but the land will sustain you, and will sustain you and the generations that are yet to come. So we have been carrying out the education. Of course, in some instances, some of the lands too are forcibly taken from these local farmers because you make a report, nobody follows up, and it's another thing. So for us, we will continue with the education, and with this report coming out, they themselves will begin to see the dangers that are associated with it, especially reports coming from the medical side. We are getting babies being born with deformities, and a number of chronic diseases are on the rise. So we expect that, of course, we will continue with the education to ensure that those lands. But ultimately, these people are powerful. We expect that the government should act decisively. Yeah,
it's very important.
Decisively to stop this, yes.
While we acknowledge the role of education in all of this, I also want to find out from you again, as an association, for the lands and farms that have been heavily contaminated with these heavy metals, the cyanide and mercury, what are the remediation plans to improve the fertility again? And even as association, do you have the capacity to embark on such a project of making these already contaminated land fertile again?
That is where the challenge lies, because as we speak, our cost of production is already high. If you look at cost of production, i.e. we talk about fertilizer, we talk about mechanization services, we talk about other agrochemicals. So if the cost of production is already high and the lands are polluted, what it means is that the farmers have to spend extra money to be able to make these lands fertile to grow the food. One, we will not be able to grow the quantities that we require. That's the issue. And number two, like you talk about capacity. For us, most of our people are these smallholder farmers who are already in small communities, and like I talk about the cost of production. How do we bear this? So if government even comes in to support us, it's going to take some time for the land to be able to regain its fertility. So the cost of production will lead to higher prices of the foodstuffs in the market, which I know is going to derail the efforts that government is making to bring inflation down to a single digit. And the polluted lands, again, what it means is that if we have to cut down on production. So imports, it means imports are going to increase. Even with this report coming, if a lot of people are beginning not to feel safe to buy vegetables from Ghana, it means they are going to rely on imported vegetables. Imported vegetables. And when we do this again, we are going to put pressure on the cedi, the exchange rate, and many people are going to be out of work. So the ripple effect, we expect that action must be taken decisively, because as smallholder farmers, we can't bear the cost of buying all those fertilizers or undertaking all the activities that will let the land regain its fertility. We will not be able to bear this cost. And we know government too is not having enough resources to do that. So we cannot sit down and allow the entire land to be destroyed. And at the end of the day, when we are not able to bear the cost of reclaiming the fertility of the land, government who doesn't have the resources, then what it means is that we have to rely heavily on imported food once again, which defeats the entire purpose of government indicating that Ghana should become self-sufficient in food production. So there's a ripple effect. And like we said, as for the health side, we are equally concerned about it, because we know our healthcare system in Ghana is not the best. So if we are struggling to survive with what we have, and then we are now deliberately going to add pressure to the healthcare system, then what it means is that eventually there's going to be a disaster. So for the farmlands, forest reserves, and water bodies, we want the minister to act decisively. Of course, we have been seeing the minister going around. I have personally visited some districts in Western region, and I've seen where people were doing galamsey on certain water bodies, and I don't find some of them, and I understand the minister has come with a team to chase them away.
What you say the minister, which sector minister are you referring to? Yes. The Agric Minister or the Lands and Natural Resources Minister?
Yes, the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources.
Okay.
Yes, the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources.
Mr. Wepia, we also read in the news that the Agric Minister, met some of your colleague farmers and donated or gave out over 900 water pumps seized from illegal miners. You've spoken about what the Lands and Natural Resources Minister has been up to in the fight. But as an association, you deal directly with the Agric Minister, who is responsible for, the work you do. What has been the level of engagement with the minister, and what have they been saying to you with regards to government assurances of protecting your trade?
Of course, yeah, thank you so much. Just about 2 weeks ago, we had an engagement, and then we invited the minister, and he was there. I remember as the national president of the association, I made it clear to the minister that we're not happy with the level of devastation on our farmlands, and that Galamsey was a canker. And the minister admitted to it, the Minister of Food and Agriculture admitted that actually government will have to do more. Of course, he was also encouraging the farmers that sometimes we also lease our lands to them, and we need to come together to support government to fight it. But we still believe that government should take the lead in this fight. Because we made it clear, all the investments we are making in agriculture, the minister has very good policies that they have the Feed Ghana program. They are committing a lot of resources into this. So if you commit all these resources, and at the end of the day, the land is destroyed, the water bodies are destroyed, it means the investment is going down the drain, and we are back to square one. So the minister himself understands this clearly, and he didn't miss words in condemning the activities of illegal mining. And now what we want to see is that, like I said, the Lands and Natural Resource Minister is already going around. I've seen some water bodies that people have been, the Galamsey people have been sacked from the place, and we know that there should be a collaboration between the two ministries. Because if that work doesn't go on effectively, investments in agriculture will go down the drain. So we engage the minister on it, and he has promised that government will do everything within his power to ensure that all these Galamsey activities are ripped off. And of course, it was a welcoming news to us when the Lands and Natural Resource Minister indicated that water bodies has been declared as a security zone. We want to see this now with action to map it.
But Wapia, in the previous administration, we saw them also classifying, the river bodies and land around river bodies as red zones, right? And that didn't really yield much. So how are you convinced? What is the strong beliefs you have around this time the directive working, and I'm referring to the classification of these areas as zones? Have you seen from government that gives you that assurance that the classification this time around will work?
Yeah. So the only thing we are looking up to that, of course, when there's a change of government, there's a new policy in place. So the first thing we're waiting to see is that will they be classified again as security zones? Will they be classified again as a no-go area? So once government has declared this, what we now want to see to be convinced is to be followed with action. There should be action on the water bodies to indicate that these areas are actually a no-go area. And remember, the action must cut across. Sometimes you go to some districts and then you realize that they are weighted off some Galamsey activities on the river. But the river goes through a number of districts. So while you are doing your part in your district, then in the other district, Galamsey activity is still going on. So ultimately, it still pollutes the river. So there must be that work that goes on. And we actually want to see government giving that task to the DCEs, the district chief executives, that look, this is your area. You must do more. You are the chairperson of DISEC, the district security. You are in charge. You must do everything to stop these activities. Otherwise, this should be one of your performance indicators. It means you are not working.
Right.
Because you sit in the district, agriculture activities are going on. We must find food to feed the people. Remember, as for food, when it comes to food issues, it's a national security issue. We can do everything, but at the end of the day, we must have food on our table, and of course, it should be healthy food. So we want to see this declaration followed up with action. That's what we want to see.
Mr. Wapia,
is the action that exactly.
Would you join the clarion call for Galamsey or for there to be a
state of emergency?
Yes, a state of emergency declared on Galamsey.
Of course, since last year, we were one of the people who joined that call, that there should be a declaration of a state of emergency.
Right.
And we still stand by it, that a state declaration of a state of emergency should be one of the things that government should consider in going forward. If all the efforts they are making fails, then the declaration of a state of emergency should come. We made that call last year. We joined other groups in making that call, and we still stand by it. That where we have reached is about our existence, and more needs to be done. More needs to be done to fight this menace. Otherwise, we are all in danger. We are all in danger. And I'm sure government itself recognizes that, because all the engagements that we have had, like I indicated with the Minister of Agri and other stakeholders in government, they all admit that more has to be done. Otherwise, investments we are making in agriculture is going to go down the range. So we still stand by the fact that if all the efforts we are making doesn't work, then a state of emergency should be declared.
Interesting. Thank you for your strong advocacy in the space. But to be clear, we saw reports around your group receiving about 900 water pumps from the minister. Is that accurate?
Yes. So when we had an engagement with the minister, and what we understand was that some pumping machines were seized from some Galamsey areas. And normally when this is done previously, what happened is that when they are seized, the equipment are destroyed. So we understand this time around, when the people were taken to court, the judge came out with the judgment that instead of them being destroyed, they should be handed over to the Agri Ministry. Farmers could use it. In any case, it's our water bodies that they have destroyed and the lands. So the minister indicated that these pumping machines will be shared. But of course, they were given to areas up north. Because when you send these pumping machines back to the same Galamsey areas and given to farmers, who knows, it may end up in the hands of the same people again. So the minister indicated that they will be shared to our members. However, those members who are found in Galamsey areas, the pumping machines will not go there. So they have sent them to different locations across the country. So the minister informed us about that. And of course, we said once there are equipment that we need to use, why not? If you hand them over to our farmers, they are going to put them to good use, and then we are all going to benefit from them. So basically, yes, where we had that report, and then even I had people who were calling me from up north and other places, indicating that we need to mobilize and then get them some of the pumping machines for them to do their work. But like I said, the minister indicated that if there's Galamsey in that particular area, then the pumping machines will not go there, because there's a fear that it will end up at the site again.
Interesting. Thank you very much, sir. Also, let me just shift your attention to some other issues within the sector that has also become topical in recent weeks. About 2 weeks ago, we saw a video from a member of parliament from the Asante Akim North, Honorable Kwame Frimpong, lamenting, food stuff that had been brought from the farm, but, generally raising issues around post-harvest losses. We also know the role Galamsey plays indirectly in this problem. As an association, I'm also reading from the National Buffer Stock website that Ghana loses annually 1.9 billion to post-harvest losses, and this is according to the National Food Buffer Stock Company. And this was a report that was commissioned by the Danish Embassy. The issues around post-harvest losses, I'm sure it's of major concern to you. How are you dealing with it as an association?
Yeah, post-harvest losses, like you indicated, is one of our biggest problems as an association. Because in as much as we spend so much to cultivate the food, and we barely make margins to sustain us in business, we are unable to also get this food on time to the market. And you look at what causes the post-harvest losses: bad roads. Many farmlands, the access to the farms to cut the food to the various market centers is a big problem for us. We are also struggling processing value addition, which we have drummed over and over again. It's a major problem. Value addition. Recently, like you indicated, you saw in the eastern region, some farmers were crying for market for their onion and for their tomatoes. And when that happens, they are going to lose a lot. Virtually all your investment goes down the drain. So one, we should be thinking about processing. We have made these recommendations, signed with our number to government. processing for us to be able to do value addition. Those tomato farmers were crying. If we had processors, tomato processor who could easily pick these fresh tomatoes, process it, it can be canned, then there will not be a problem.
Yeah.
We also have, yes, and we also need a lot of warehouses. We also need them so that storage can go on as the cultivation is equally going on. Access to roads, we have talked about this over and over again. There's a lot of food. Sometimes you go to the rural areas, you see tomatoes sitting there, you go to Accra and you look at the cost of tomatoes and you are amazed. The question is, how do you transport that tomatoes from that community to Accra? So we still believe that government has to do more. The last time we engaged government on it, their immediate measure was that the buffer stock had been giving some money to buy this produce from the farmers.
But can you confirm if they've been paid? Because a week ago when we spoke to them, they have said that they had not been sent the monies promised them. You know, can you confirm that for us now?
For me, I cannot confirm, but what I know is that they are yet to purchase from us. But, you know, we were also hearing reports that money has been released for buffer stock company to purchase our farm produce. So what we are doing is that we are waiting for them, our members across the country, we are waiting for them because we expect that buffer stock should be able to act decisively to purchase this food so that the government warehouses across the country, this food can be put there. So if we don't take this measure, but ultimately to solve the post-harvest loss problem, we must be doing value addition, which is very, very important.
Very, very important.
We must be doing value addition because without value addition, it's going to be very, very, because like we are talking about, if the monies are not released on time, by the time government gives the money to buffer stock, when you come, if it's tomatoes, it has gone bad. The tomatoes has gone bad. How do we solve that problem of post-harvest losses?
Yeah.
But when, so we need to set up processing centers, every ecological zone and what they produce.
Yeah.
So we must have value addition so that once the farmers produce, we are able to feed these processors or to feed this industry so that once values are there, then the produce can be stored and then released to the market as to when it's required. So government has to do more. Even the value addition will even help us, the farmers, to also make it. Because without that, you produce more, there's no market, it goes bad, you lose your investment, the next year you are not able to produce more, Ghana don't have enough food, prices go up. We can't continue in that cycle. So government should take it seriously that whatever investment they are making in the agriculture sector, we need processing facilities so that we should be able to produce to process our own tomatoes. We should be able to produce other agriculture. Exactly. Yes, because without the processing, it's going to be very difficult to solve the problem of post-harvest losses. And look at the money that we mentioned, 1.9 billion.
That's significant.
That's significant. Going down the drain.
That's significant. If you look at the report, it says about yam was around $550 million. It's huge. But thank you so much for your time this morning. We are so grateful for spending time going through the issues with us. We'll come back for updates as and when there are any. You heard the national chairman of the Peasants Farmer Association, Wepia Adugula, they say president, so national president of the Peasant Farmer Association. And we are on a time bomb.
It is well.
It's serious.
It is well. If government doesn't change, then I don't know what else we can
and
do.
Like you listen to all these problems, but for some reason I also struggle to understand how like we are surviving. You know.
Nyamine shame. Be fine. That's what my former boss would say. Be fine. This is still Sunday Breakfast right here on Channel 1 TV. We'll be back shortly. Don't go away.
Me pay so dear me sister me dad dear me chibia na me mshishimi akuna ida me many tea o some me saka me say me ida so te sika se dia so da mo hwe juju so mo bag de ho dia me ba bi free so one hwe bag na ma mo na me hwe wow se me nya kwanfo bia na na mo sori o
Remember who we are singing now.
at risk of prostate enlargement. Uyi emema oha 20 ebitimi prostate cancer, 5 bitimi afamu na dia obefamu.
Actually, this is not my fault.
And to wada entina medi mani Executive Prostate Center.
Executive Prostate Center is a unique medical center where we harmonize in-depth traditional medicine with cutting-edge science and technology to cure, to treat, and to prevent diseases like prostate enlargement, prostate cancer.
Executive Prostate Center. Madame facilities no any professional medical care.
Sisi a bibia clear system no. Ye no ne so de natural into we koso afama ye.
Executive Prostate Center. My cured.
Habibi, my people, welcome to Dubai. My name is Sheikh Alkal bin Maktoum. Okay, so I am Caleb, right? Caleb Kuda is my name, and this is Beyond Borders on Channel 1 Television. We are in Dubai. So join me. Let us explore the allure, the beauty, and the reality of life and living it in Dubai through the eyes and the experiences of our compatriots.
Imagine 6 people, 10 people sharing a common room together.
Tifiana metimacho chinampe. Na complain there in the sense, why you are share one rooms na de it doesn't smell pleasant. Or hunting no complaints na be bring to the fair no tum.
Dubai is one of the most organized, highly resourced and well-endowed countries you would find.
You've been here for 7 months.
Yes.
Without a job.
Yeah.
How is it like?
So hard.
Tell me about it.
Struggling, renting and feeding is so hard.
Every frame per second of their lives in Dubai tells a story, and we've got it all captured right here on Beyond Borders, only on Channel 1 Television. So don't get told, don't miss out. Catch these compelling stories of Ghanaians in Dubai only on Beyond Borders on Channel 1 TV this and every Wednesday at 7 p.m. I catch you.
Beyond Borders is sponsored by Copen Hospitality.
In a nation full of questions, where truth often hides behind noise, one show dares to ask what truly matters face to face. With fearless clarity and a quest for accountability, host Umarusanda Amadou sits down with the movers and shakers of politics, governance, society, and business, confronting the issues that define our national conversation.
The party itself has said that whenever you're in opposition, you should choose flag bearers early.
So what you are trying to tell me is that you want somebody who is going out to come and select a leader for you. So the next person will come and say, but I didn't select him.
Direct victim of attack, violent attack.
Where and when?
The first one happened in Parliament. I was pregnant.
Now, for me, it was legitimized by a radio or TV station giving her a position to work.
So for you, take issue with GH1 and what and giving her the platform.
That is where the minority is. We are on them. We've asked questions.
President Mahama will be a mean president if he prioritized only his children and DCP. He needs to demonstrate a Ghanaian government.
Every Tuesday at 9 p.m., join Umarusanda Amadou on Face to Face as he digs deeper, challenges power, and reveals the stories shaping Ghana's future. Only on Channel 1 TV.
This week on The Upside Down Show, Frema Edunyame and Nana Tufo-Boateng sits with Dr. Hannah Louisa Bisukote, administrator of the Minerals Development Fund. She recounts the ordeal she had to suffer as a child living with her aunt.
I went through what any child that you call abuse today went through. I had lice in my hair, and I have a lot of hair, Everything was taken off, and I had sores all over. And my auntie would not let me be with my cousins because of the sores.
However, she didn't see this as a stumbling block as she moved on with life in Cuba. It wasn't all rosy though.
I left for Cuba at age 14, 1986. 14. I held on and to Ambassador Amogo Fred on to his suit as Kofi. I'll be crying. Mosquitoes. You can't eat the food. I was crying.
But she learned something for life.
In Spanish, there's something that said, uno para todo, todo para uno. One is for all of us, and we are all for one.
So, make a date this Sunday on the Upside Down Show at 7 p.m. prompt, only on Channel 1 TV.
Let's get into the world of sports like never before.
You know how we do it on Fridays.
Join us every Friday at 7 p.m. on 97.3 City FM for Sports Panorama, your ultimate destination for all things sports.
One of the biggest scandals in this country's history. You can't spend 250 million USD and come out with that.
From the thrill of association football to the excitement of basketball, tennis, athletics, and even emerging sports, we cover it all. Whether it's the Premier League or the latest NBA showdown, we bring you the stories behind the stars.
Getting an opportunity to become a national team coach, he should understand the politics around football.
And don't miss the prayer of the rabbi.
Joe was Zebal. How Zebal there? Zebal won Chaboke Walako.
We're not just about the games, we're about the community.
If you are going to be given this kind of treatment, then you need to be that guy. When I look at him play, he is not it.
Or when it's time for Don't Call Me. Join the conversation as we connect with fans across the country and beyond. Want the latest updates? Send us your thoughts and feature your comments live on air. And remember, we like to hear your predictions for matches and your thoughts in general. Think you know who's going to win? Let us know.
Big shout outs to my YouTube people.
Tune in every Friday at 7 p.m. only on 97.3 City FM. Sports Panorama, where sports come alive.
Meneke fe mo sha ko ba club fe ke DJ ni wo hia ka wo hye ye Yesu gba mi amen.
Sports Panorama, your weekly sports fix. Don't miss out on the action. Sports Panorama, catch the excitement every Friday.
It's time to promote volunteerism, active citizenship, and patriotism in Ghanaian society,
where we shine the spotlight on the unsung heroes among us.
Today we're not just launching a program, we're igniting a revolution of skills, dreams and hope.
On Volunteers TV, we highlight and celebrate people and groups that are great examples to us all.
Every single region in Ghana, we're doing something.
Good.
So no one's being left behind.
Over 800 kids that come to school, so having an extra classroom, extra resources will be really, really beneficial.
If you're a volunteer, you are actually serving because you are giving up your time and resources for nothing in return.
Volunteers TV, Sunday at 6:30 p.m. only on Channel 1 TV.
You're welcome back to Sunday Breakfast right here on Channel 1 TV with me, Inosafo and Jude Duncan. Remember we said we tell you what you missed at the CBO? That conversation is about to happen now. And so some of the games that we had yesterday, pretty interesting. They started with aerobics and then there was a walk, which Jude and I missed because we were here with you telling you what would happen at the CBO. There was 7-a-side football, which was very interesting. I think one of my highlights was the tug of war, because at a point they pulled the ropes so hard on both sides that the rope broke. There was also volleyball for men and women. And the men's volleyball went into, like, even as we were announcing some of the awards and giving out some of the trophies, the men's volleyball was still going on. There was also lime and spoon, arm wrestling, men and women, lawn tennis, sack race, tug of war, draughts, chess, Scrabble, swimming, men and women, and then the Ultimate CEO's Challenge. Hi, Gabby.
Hi.
I feel terrible though. We had to drag you here this morning.
Yeah, I have to
because you and Bernard Abeku were talking non-stop.
Yeah, we had to
for over what 3-4 hours.
Yes,
yeah.
But we took a break, so we came back to wrap things up when the medal ceremony was ongoing. When GCB were crowned overall champions. So we had to bring our viewers up to speed with regard to what was happening at the Eden High Sports Complex. Yeah, so I think it was good. Look, if you've played video game, right, there's something we call creating, and I think Jude knows that.
You create the player.
You create the players. GCB are that. They are that. Like, they are unstoppable. And I was making a joke about if some of the corporate entities should go and see GCB and take some lessons from them, you know? And we had this one member of GCB telling us that every year they actually do regional justifies.
Okay, justify your inclusion.
Yes.
So they don't just bring, I can play soccer.
No.
And then you
they
come.
have justifies for the events they'll be competing in.
Makes sense.
So, and then they send those winners from their regions to the head of the sports committee who is in Accra with the main branch. Then they can then assemble a formidable team to compete in the various events. So, look, it's no fluke. To do it 8 times, it's not like they come there and nobody is unable to usurp them. They put in preparations. The person also mentioned that
UMB, right?
Yeah.
I thought that Charlie, the way UMB came with flags, and
there
were a lot of them. So I thought that they're coming to be a formidable force against.
No, but I think we should commend them. I think they did well.
Oh, they did amazing.
Yes, they did well. And another person was telling us that they had to organize everybody to participate at this year. You know, they were the first. It was the first time for them.
For UMB.
They were one of our sponsors and also participants. So they had to gather everybody at UMB to come and support. And you should see, at a point, I even got confused
between them
with
because the
UMB
colors are
and
similar.
GCB. Yeah, they have that gold color in there.
Yeah.
So, but I think to come into your first competition and put in that shift was good. I think I was telling Bernard that maybe we should keep an eye on them next year.
Yeah.
They can.
Maybe they'll take a few pointers from GCB and then usurp them. Because see, the thing with GCB, they take part in every event. Single event.
Yes.
And then they make sure that, if not a gold, at least silver, bronze. And that will, push you up the medal table. Because I was at the...
When we were running the commentary here, we even got tired of mentioning their
GCB
on the podium finish. Because
did they have a podium finish for every discipline?
Almost.
Yes.
Almost. I think it was.
No, this year, every discipline.
I think it was. I didn't see them for, I think, chess and Scrabble.
Scrabble was
there,
yes,
right?
Scrabble was there, chess was there.
Chess was there.
Yes.
Okay.
I think GCB was on the podium
finish. They almost
Yeah.
got onto all the
For
events.
almost everything, actually.
They almost got
And
onto
at the
I
end
don't
of
want
the
to
day,
believe
they
they had a
display.
podium finish for every event.
No,
That would
almost.
be-
I think almost. I think there will be some, maybe about 2 or 3 that they did
Unfortunately, I
not
didn't
get
take
on.
a picture.
But
Yeah, and you had the final score table,
Yeah, I was at the
right?
final score table. And
But
so,
I think they had 8 medals in total, right?
A bit more, yeah.
A bit more. But so it speaks because we had about 13 disciplines. So if you've been able to rack up 70% of
Yeah, but it could be like they were second and third in one particular discipline.
Yeah, so look, but nonetheless, I think they put up a very good shift every year. They say they want to do 10, and then when they hit 10, the subsequent business Olympics, they won't compete. They'll be
So this is
Hall
number
of
9
Famers.
for them, or this their 9th?
Their 9th, rather.
Yeah, so
Okay.
next year will be 10.
Be
Oh, I
10.
love
So
this session.
that one, they would rather be providing tips on how to win it.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, they'll be giving the other companies tips.
I think that these are numbers. Samuel just needs to allow us to also compete.
Oh, really?
I'm telling you.
I had that conversation with.
Please,
with
on that
somebody.
note, let's go and watch what happened, because I don't know what Jude is talking about. Even here, you won't do the exercise. How much more compete with
Is it a rubbing
GCB?
session?
Please, let's go
Yeah,
and watch the exercise.
Yeah. Drip 101. Yeah. My niggas are winning, so watch your blog. And you know for gazing in this corner, bro. Before you cap the Lamborghini truck, making sure I will drip when you win your plug. My niggas are winning, so watch your blog. And you know for gazing in this corner, bro. Before you cap the Lamborghini truck, making sure I will drip when you win your plug. You know that drip is very necessary. Anytime you pull up, you gotta be scary. Savannah shopping, I be some mini pateri. With the Gucci do now go Pekula Perry. I used to rock fakes, now we turned up. 450 on the 10 top. It's like an addiction, we can't stop. If you can relate, let me see your hands up. Now by the drip and I will get more. We'll be better than Louis, but I said no. Cause everybody be rocking the same. I would rather pull up in the vet more. Since you're the dripping, no, we know the big brands. Minye sika kwa na me for big plans. Rolling up, be replacing my wristband. Pass I wish I queen with their distance. Challenge with him to watch your blog. And they don't forget in this corner, bro. Before you cap the Lamborghini truck, making sure I will drip when you win your plug. My with him to watch your blog. And they don't forget in this corner, bro. Before you cap the Lamborghini truck, making sure I will drip when you win your plug. Would you be dripping each year with your light bill? Cause a couple dollars saving for the right deal. Grills the teacher, your friend is spotlight grill. Mason Margiela on an off-white sale. On a regular day, the Air Force Ones. The percent of sharp body, I'm a woman low down. Sonia, we see Cabelson and me would be here. Last time I just say we wish I was a go fan. Casablanca t-shirt on a chill day. Yeah, the card I swipe it, but we still day. But they can't tell me that actually give way. Hope your plug and our friend, they get up the eBay. Each and every morning with the pop tags. Charlie no fugazi at the top class. It's a driven the one where we know they walk fast. Yeah. Drip 101. Yeah. My niggas are winning, so watch your blog. And you know for gazing in this corner, bro. Before you cap the Lamborghini truck, making sure I will drip when you win your plug. My niggas are winning, so watch your blog. And you know for gazing in this corner, bro. Before you cap the Lamborghini truck, making sure I will drip when you win your plug. You know that drip is very necessary. Anytime you pull up, you gotta be scary. Savannah shopping, I be some mini pateri. With the Gucci do now go Pekula Perry. I used to rock fakes, now we turned up. 450 on the 10 top. It's like an addiction, we can't stop. If you can relate, let me see your hands up. Now by the drip and I will get more. We'll be better than Louis, but I said no. Cause everybody be rocking the same. I would rather pull up in the vet more. Since you're the dripping, no, we know the big brands. Minye sika kwa na me for big plans. Rolling up, be replacing my wristband. Pass I wish I queen with their distance. Challenge with him to watch your blog. And you don't forget in this corner, bro. Before you cap the Lamborghini truck, making sure I will drip when you win your plug. Man, I win him so watch the plug. And you don't forget in this corner, bro. Before you cap the Lamborghini truck, making sure I will drip when you win your plug. Would you be dripping each year with your light bill? Cause a couple dollars saving for the right deal. Grills the teacher, your friend is spotlight grill. Macy Margiela on an off-white sale. On a regular day, the Air Force Ones. The percent the sharp body and the woman low down. Sonia, we see Cabelson and we would me here. Last time I just say we push up a go fan. Casablanca t-shirt on a chill day. Yeah, the card I swipe it, but we still day. But they can't tell me that actually give way. Hope the plug and our friend, they know the eBay. Each and every morning with the pop tags. Charlie no fugazi at the top class. They're driven the one we know they walk fast. Some shadows in the reserve and for rock stars. What else? When them say watch your blog. No fugazi in this corner, bro. Before you cap the Lamborghini truck, making sure I will driven the way you plug. When them say watch your blog. And you no fugazi in this corner, bro. Before you cap the Lamborghini truck, making sure I will driven the way you plug. What else? Drip 101. Yeah. Drop on the one side, shoulder, one side, shoulder, one side, shoulder, one side, shoulder. It's a woman to my number, and I remember we email. Yeah. Drip 101. Yeah. Man, that's a winning to watch your blog. And you know for gazing in this corner, bro. Before you cap the Lamborghini truck, making sure I will drip when you win your plug. Man, that's a winning to watch your blog. And you know for gazing in this corner, bro. Before you cap the Lamborghini truck, making sure I will drip when you win your plug. You know that drip is very necessary. Anytime you pull up, you gotta be scary. Savannah shopping, I be some mini pateri. With the Gucci do, now go pick Kula Perry. I used to rock fakes, now we turn top. 450 on the 10 top. It's like an addiction, we can't stop. If you can relate, let me see your hands up. About the drip and I you get more. We'll be back Chevy Louis, but I said no. Cause everybody be rocking the same. I would rather pull up in the vet more. Since you're dripping, we know the big brands. Me see Kakran, I'm with big plans. Rolling up, be replacing the wristband. Pass, I wish I queen with their distance. Challenge, I wouldn't have your blog.
Bad man come for the streets. No play with my fees. When we pull up on peace, and the girls such a tease. We just wanna get lean. So let me see you put your hands in the air one time for the go-go. We got the vibe and we got the mood. I know they lie, this one no be so. Me and my nigga gon' start cold. I mean Josie, I'm showing love. You had the weed when you see the pop. Some NSC mix it with the choke.
7 days ngeviki sajikile vile umthudu John Wick akumthama ngaviki ngeke babuye noma bengeza bebaningi siloku sithule sibhekile angeke nowiki 7 days ngeviki sajikile vile umthudu John Wick akumthama ngaviki kodangeke kuye ingaze ngivu kodangeke kuye ithini ingaze ngivu kodangeke kuye
Come for the streets, no play with my fees. When we pull up on peace, and the girls such a tease. We just wanna get lead, so let me see you put your hands in the air one time for the go-go. We got the vibe and we got the mood. I know they lie, this one no be so. Me and my nigga Costa Code. I mean Josie, I'm showing love. You have the weed when you see the pop. Some men see mixing with the choke.
So those were highlights from this year's CBO, where GCB again retained their title. Gabby, what was your highlights, briefly, before we
the
move on?
finals of the basketball event.
Oh,
yeah, Petra taking on
Petra.
Fedco. It was intense. The atmosphere was great. At a point, I think both teams actually lost it with like controlling their coach and those who were on the subs bench, because they wanted it. They wanted to take the bragging rights. And Petra initially played against Coronation Insurance, I believe.
Yes.
Charlie, you should see the skill.
Coronation, yeah, they were
It
third.
was great. So everybody tipped. I think the support, Petra had a lot of support in the final. So a lot of people were looking at Petra to win the ultimate. But Fedco came with a different skill. They showed that strength and anger. At a point, look, I even felt like both teams lost it because it was getting too intense. It was just, the point was just very narrow. I think it ended 8-7.
Yeah, it was a one difference.
Yes,
yeah,
Petra
1 point
missed
difference.
a last pointer they should have taken. That would have recorded. But, I mean, that was my highlight. And I think the second one would be the tug of war. Yeah. It was
intense.
Look, it's not about all
UMB
those
against
antics and
GCB.
talk and
Jude Bessie, I'm running it
if
from.
they go show the skill behind
Yeah.
the rope, they put people left, right, center.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think, you know, it was a great atmosphere. Now, GCB winning it again. 2026, looking forward to which company can usurp them.
Interesting.
Many people are tipping UMB as the next
overall winners.
Yes, but I was surprised.
We leave it to them.
Fedco actually finished third.
Yeah.
And Premier Care also finished second.
Yeah.
I was really surprised.
Yeah.
They
got a lot of medals, and I think they also participated in a lot of games and got a lot of medals.
The preparation from all these companies. So it was a
all
very
right.
good one.
Black Princesses
Yeah.
are playing a game. But then just before, let's just mention that Fedco CEO won the
Won the
CEO's
CEO's
challenge
as
this
well.
year.
Yeah. That was great. That was great. So the Princesses are in action later today. It's against Tunisia in the second round, the second leg of the U20 Women's World Cup. The World Cup starts next year in Poland, so 2026. The Princesses they've always qualified for the World Cup. If they qualify this time around, it will be their 8th consecutive time of qualifying. But what has eluded them is making it out to the group stage. They've always struggled to make it out to the group stage. And you see, I've always had a problem with this thing. I said this on Panorama. We keep on changing coaches. We don't keep the coach for a longer period. If you've stuck with maybe, let's say, Bazigi, who qualified the team to the previous edition and is unable to, I think you should still make him try again. This coach comes in with a different idea, different philosophy, has to try everything again. Yeah. So they head into that clash against Tunisia later today with a 2-0 first leg advantage. I think they'll make it past Tunisia. If they're able to do so, next on the list for the Princesses will be South Africa, and then they can see who they get in the group stage. So all the best to them. If you want to go to the Accra Sports team, go support them. They are the younger sisters of the Black Queens. Yes, so
and they're doing amazing,
them.
and I hope government
would support them.
Thank you very much. Kotoko, BBNE Gold Stars.
Yes, they're also involved in some African, that's the CAF assignments. Kotoko are involved in the CAF Champions League. BBNE Gold Stars are, Kotoko are in the CAF Confederations Cup.
Okay.
And BBNE Gold Stars are in the CAF Champions League. For Gold Stars, I think it's over for them.
Oh.
They are not going past Jess Kabili or Jess.
Okay.
Yes, but for Kumasi Asante Kotoko, they managed to get a 4-3 when he had their Accra Sports Stadium. So they get, it's just a 1-goal margin between themselves and Kwara United going to Nigeria. If they go past Kwara United, they have to deal with Wydad Casablanca, who are one of the formidable sides in African football. Recently, they brought in a new coach. Their former coach, Walid Regragui, left to the Moroccan national team. So it's still a tough test for Kotoko to go past Kwara United. Zito was with Dreams FC. He's the current coach of Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Took Dreams FC to the semi-finals of this same competition, that's the CAF Confed Cup. So the Kotoko hierarchy are looking at him and say, okay, do this for us like you did for Dreams FC. And if you're able to go past with that, you make it to the money stage, and that's some cool cash for Ghanaian football. So yeah, all the best to the two teams. Kotoko is playing at, I think, at 3 p.m. and Gold Stars are taking GS Kabylie at 6 p.m. Yeah, so all the best to the two teams.
Let's quickly brush through EPL games.
Yeah.
It was the night, it was the day for, or you know, you can't even jubilate because
all the big teams lost.
Yeah.
In fact, to Spain, Madrid lost, Liverpool lost, Chelsea lost, United, no news. So, yeah, I mean, let me start off United. They lost to Brentford by 3-1. Chelsea also lost by the same scoreline by 3-1. Took a lead against Brighton, Ketsi, Enzo Fernandez, and then they allowed Brighton to equalize all the goals. Danny Welbeck got a brace in that game. But there's this thing about Chelsea's Enzo Maresca. I think I'm beginning to say it. His in-game managements are looking really poor. Yeah. If you look at that game against Brighton, one thing has happened in that game against Bayern. It happened against Manchester United and it happened against Brighton again. Right? I'm talking about the red card. And when to yank off certain players, Maresca is looking like a confused coach. And I think phase 2 of whatever he wants to do at Chelsea is really getting worse.
Right.
Phase 1 was not too good. I thought that phase 2 in the second season would have been better. But it's just...
Who, Maresca?
Yes. Well, it's just 5 games.
To be fair, out of the last 5 games we've lost, like 3 or 4 of them, we had like down to 10 men. Well, that in itself is coaching, right?
Yes, it's still down to coaching. And if you want to look at that game against Manchester United, I think he panicked. He rushed the decisions.
With the changes
with
he
the
made.
Submissions, the changes, the yanking of all the attackers. And then if you want to hit United on the break, I think you should have a player who's got enormous pace on the left or right. But he decided to go with another DM. All right? It's just match day 5. Let's see what he does. But the early signs I've seen from him are not looking too good. So that was a really bad loss.
Wow.
Arsenal, I'm hoping, can take advantage of Liverpool's loss yesterday against Crystal Palace. They closed the gap because already it was 5 points.
That's you assuming that they are title challengers. Quietly, City seems to be back in form.
Yeah,
and
City won yesterday too, 5-1.
You know, and they won 4 the previous week and
exactly.
now 5.
Yes.
So quietly, they're also building momentum. But we'll see how that goes.
Okay, quick help. So I have a belated happy birthday to the man on the drums at Night's Light Chapel International, Palm Wine Junction, Labadi. May your new year be filled with blessings and all the goodies from God. You didn't add your name, unfortunately. But we have an in-house birthday. Big happy birthday to Na Oyo Kote. What's he coming to do?
Happy birthday
to you.
Make you not do them break
happy birthday. Make sure you don't break the man. That one you're on your own. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
She goes by the name Kowalski.
The teacher on the branch in the city on 97.3 FM now.
She overly deformed.
Tomorrow she go overdue for the show.
I swear. Happy birthday to you now. We love you so much. We hope you have an amazing day. But that's our show for you. It's 10 o'clock. We have to go. But we'll be back during the weekend. Do not miss the show. Keep your dials here.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Welcome to Adoration on Channel One TV. This is the only show on TV